Alright, so today we're going to be making a New England IPA, 10-gallon batch. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's get it started. Alright, so we got 10 gallons in for our mash water. I'm going to add some pH stabilizer. And now let's heat it up. Give that about a half hour and we should be ready to go to the next step. Alright, so I got my mash water up to 170 degrees. The way we do it over here is we actually use 2 of the regular mash tuns. Me and my partner used to both do 5-gallon batches. So when we got the bigger system for the 16-gallon kettle, we just, instead of buying a bigger mash tun, we just use both of them. So far that's been working out pretty good for us, so here we go. Yeah, I try and adjust the temperature of the mash water depending on how many pounds of grain I'm going to be adding. When I have a stronger alcohol content beer, say 18 to 20 pounds per mash tun, I found that going closer to 174 for my system, if the igloos are already cold, will help me mash out at about 150, 152 after everything settles out. Today I'm going to go with 170 because I'm doing a much lighter batch. This one's going to be about 5 3/4, somewhere around there, percent alcohol. So the combined total, I think it's 13 pounds per mash tun. So I'll get that all filled up and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so here we go. I got the water in the mash tuns. I pulled this out. the outside bar. Pulled it out here so I could gravity feed back into the boil kettle once we're done doing the mash. Let's go ahead and get this done. Alright, so now I'll just let that sit for a few minutes. I'll check the temperature, make sure we're right at the right target, and I'll go ahead and set the timer, old school timer, for 60 minutes. See you in a bit. Alright, so I checked my temperature, and one of them was at 152 and the other one was at 150, so that's perfect. It's about 45 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and start heating up my sparge water now. In the past I've forgotten to do it, and then you end up getting stuck doing a 90-minute mash and stuff, so usually I'll either start it right when I start the mash or within the next 15 minutes. That way, if anything, I just turn the burner off a little early and have it rest, and then I can just heat it up a tiny bit more or something. But it's better to get that water up to the right temperature as fast as possible so that when your time is up on your mash, you're ready to go. Alright, so the timer just went off. It's been an hour of mashing. Getting ready to sparge here. So first thing I want to do is going to want to draw, I don't know, half a gallon to a gallon, somewhere around there, out the bottom and put it back up at the top, just to try and clarify and settle the bottom of the mash tun. So let's get that going. This is how I do it by myself. So as it's coming out right now, there's just tons of particles of malt and oats and sugar and stuff. So it's not clear at all. So once I go through a couple pots on each mash tun, it should get significantly more clear, and that's what I'm shooting for here. Alright, so I'll just do that about 3 or 4 times each, and then I will get ready to start sparging in some of the sparge water at 170 degrees. Alright, so I just got the sparge going. So now this is when the two become one. So I'm taking the 2 igloos and I'm running them into the same boil pot. You want it to trickle really slowly. One of the things that we struggle with here, having the 2 mash tuns, is that we try and have it an even run so that we get the same runnings out of each one. Sometimes we'll take pint glasses and put them down on that false bottom and stick the hoses in there and make sure that they fill up at the same rate before we pull them out and then run it. So far efficiency is pretty good. We usually run around, I don't know, 84%, somewhere around in there. Could be better, but it's been getting better since we started. So alright, we'll check back in a bit. Alright, so we're getting close to boil, real close actually. Starting to get there. Shoot, I normally drop the foam control drops at about 200. That way I'm ahead of it. Yeah, so now we just wait for the boil, and then we drop our dry hops. Or sorry, start dropping our bittering hops. But for now, time for a homebrew. This is the Honey Pot IPA, brewed a couple weeks ago. It's looking pretty good. Cheers.
Well, that's excellent.
What do you think, Pop?
Excellent.
How is it?
Excellent.
Yeah, what does it taste like?
Tastes like beer. Tastes good.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, we just reached boil. Time to add a half-ounce Columbus. Alright, there we go. Normally I use a hot bag, but I decided not to this time.
What's your reasoning in that?
I have a bunch of small hop additions this time. Normally I have larger ones, and I would have had to use way more bags. Plus the style of beer this is, I can probably get away with not using the hop bags. This is going to be a hazy IPA. Yeah, just experiment, you know. I usually use the bags. Let's try without the bags and see what happens. Plus I just got a cold crash fridge, so I figure I can get some of that stuff out later if I want to. Got a nice color already. Columbus hop smells really good, really nice. Alright, we got 10 minutes left in the boil. I already put in the wort chiller. I'm going to add another half ounce of Columbus and half-pound corn sugar. Get a good scale. Ooh. that's it for now. Give it 10 more minutes and we'll do the final edition, the heavy hop stand. Alright, so we just reached boil off. Time to cool this thing down to about 170 and then do the hop stand. Little trick I got here. Just throw the sump pump in the pool. Hook the sump pump up to the wort chiller, and voila, no hose needed. In the meantime, I'll get, oh shoot. In the meantime, I'll get the dry hop going. Alright, so we're shooting for 2 ounces of Columbus. I don't know if I'm going to have enough. Looks like I have 1 ounce. We're going to do 2 ounces of El Dorado. We're going to do 4 ounces of Mosaic.
Here's your El Dorado. You need it? You only put 1 ounce in.
I don't need it right now. Four ounces of Mosaic. Yeah, you know what? We'll do a little bit more El Dorado since I ran out. Down to 180 already. So it dropped 40 degrees that fast. So we're going to do 1 more ounce of El Dorado. So it's a total of 8 ounces of dry hop. I am going to use this bag after all. This is actually a brewing bag. Oh yeah. Throw that in there. It's actually about 185. I'm gonna drop it about 5 degrees and then stick the dry hop in. All right, we got the 8 ounces dry hop in. We're sitting at 176. Now we're gonna do an old-fashioned whirlpool. Get some circulation in there, get the hop oils floating around.
I'm telling you, I'm trying.
Let me show you what this changes. I've already done one.
Smells very good.
Yeah, hopefully you can kind of see the color. And then I'll usually do, I don't know, every couple minutes I'll do this again. And then it really changes the flavor and the color of the beer. Now let it rest and I'll repeat a few more times. So here's the final little bit. I don't know if you can see all that yellow pulling up. Alright, and that'll conclude my whirlpool. Look at all that yellow hoppy foam. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so I pitched the yeast yesterday. It's going pretty crazy. We're at about 68 degrees. The color's looking phenomenal. Look at that. And these things are just chugging. I've got this one, London L3 yeast, and this one's Imperial A38 juice yeast, I think it is what it is. It's the organic A38. We'll see which one I prefer. This is our third split batch comparing the two yeasts. So I've been a 1318 fanatic, and my brew buddy, he's trying to convert me to the organic, but we'll see what happens. But look at that! Look at that! Oh, that looks beautiful. All right, and then we'll see how it tastes.